Hello and welcome to the show. Try to get this through real quick. I just want to show everybody what I do have for sale. And yeah, kind of what's coming up on the channel real quick. You'll probably see me coming today again with another live video. Not really talking about stuff for sale, but Charles is coming up. And he's going to pick up. I sold him the rods. If you just watched that ultralight rod shootout I just did. I don't even know what it's called, but the purpley rod, the real little one, Charles wants that for 20 bucks. So I'm selling him that rod. This is my high-end stuff, though. And he got a custom rod made. We may take a look at it when he does get up here. So I might do a live video then. But what I have for sale, and this is stuff I regularly use, I just don't use it enough to justify for as much money as it does cost. So if somebody else can put it to use, I will sell it. But if I can't sell it for my asking price, I will just continue to use it. So I'm trying to sell locally first. So if you're from wherever out of way, if you're within the Kansas City, Missouri area, like you willing to meet me at a Bass Pro Shop, say the one here, right here in Independence, Missouri, there's one over in Kansas, or even Cabela's over in Kansas, something like that, I would meet that far. But I don't want to try to ship any of these rods. Mainly the reels won't be a big deal, but I'm trying to sell everything I can locally first, and then I will ship other stuff. So I put it down in the description, basically my asking prices. And yes, I will, if like say you wanted everything, I would come down. And you want both reels, I might drop some money. But if you're just wanting one specific thing locally, and I'll give you the prices and the rundown of the overall rods and reels if you don't know much about them. So we'll do the reels and get them out of the way real quick, and we'll talk about my oldest one that I've had anyway, the longest. I haven't had that one that long, but that one I had a boo-boo with it, and I'll talk about it in a minute. Now these, I've added clickers to them. They're maybe not the loudest clickers, but they do have drag clickers added. This is just the Aldebaran 50, which makes it a 6 something to 1. It's not a 7 or an 8 to 1. But it's still not a real slow, like it's not a true like a cranking reel, but just a Aldebaran 50. I believe this was the first Aldebaran to come out, not this exact one, although maybe it could have been. I've had it a while, but very good reels. They're the same basic frame and works as the Aldebaran BFS that's out right now. There's a new one getting ready to be released, but it's not out yet. So this reel's worked fine, no issues whatsoever with it. I do have the one scuff. Now this, believe it or not, and you may not believe me, but that scuff was already there when I bought this. I bought it used. I don't think I've put any marks on it. None that I've seen or know of. That's dirt. So it's still a very clean looking reel. I don't think there's any scuffs on this side. I can't see anything on this side. It's got this one, there's actually two. I think that is a scuff there. If you can see that, that's a little bitty. Oh boy, focus. Let me get that handle out of the way. So there's a little scuff right there, and then those two, that is it. So like when you're basically looking at the reel, it doesn't look scuffed up at all. So if I can't sell this for 150 locally, I will just keep on fishing it, because it'd be very hard to replace that for 150 bucks in the first place. Probably couldn't do it. So got the box for it. Still got the original handle. And the handles and all that stuff will be like brand new as far as when I got them anyway, because all I do is I take that right off if you don't know about the whole single lifestyle thing. So it's got the handle, the original thing, real foot protectors, a new set of the pins for the brake system, and the oil is still in there. So you will get all that, 150 bucks locally. Now you let me know if you want this or not. I can take this handle off and keep it myself, and it's a possibility I may if somebody doesn't specify they want to try that handle out, because most guys want that, and I just haven't put them back yet because I may just keep fishing this if I don't sell it, because it still does work. I just don't fish it enough to justify, you know, it might as well let's move it on down the road. If you follow the channel or you want to know anything about me, I'm not an anything collector. I use what I'm using, whether it be in you know, I don't consider these tools. I consider more of that as a hobby. I don't consider a tool like I'm a mechanic. But once I'm not using it, I kind of like, I just sell it. I'm not a collector. If I was, I would just put these on a shelf somewhere. But this guy, this is my newest Aldebaran period. It's even newer, my Aldebaran BFS XG, which I'm keeping. And I just picked up a the Shimano Calcutta Conquest BFS, and I've got a Corrado BFS coming. That's why I got so many reels now. I'm kind of doing away with most of my regular, even though these aren't really regular. These are like your finesse, you know, the MGL, even the 50 back in the day was considered like a finesse type reel. More of for the lightweight or, you know, lighter stuff. But this reel is the newest of the bunch, but I dropped it a few months back, and I dropped it out in the worst place you can drop it, on concrete. So it's not actually as noticeable as this, because when you're fishing that, every once in a while you'll catch a glance of that. It's not that big a deal. But this one, like, it's fine. The top side, I don't know if there's any scuffs anywhere on it. That might be a scuff right there, I can't tell, or it's just, I don't know, could just be the way it's made. Because not all these will be perfectly made to have little flaws. If you really get close, like we're looking at real close, this camera has a good ability to. So it got a little scuff right there, but the main thing is right here when it hit. It landed right like this, and I think it rolled over on its top. But it definitely did not do any damage as far as hurting the reel. It did some cosmetic damage right there. Scuffed that up. So I just want to make sure that's clear if somebody's buying this reel. So this is a $400 reel, and it's only, is it a year old that I've had it? And I bought it, was supposed to be new off, I think I bought this off eBay. Now that one's definitely used. This one I think was supposed to be new. And it looked new. I had no reason to make me think it wasn't new. Like I said, I did do the little drop, but I fished it, you know, since the drop. Everything functions fine on all these reels. Everything works good. I added a clicker to this one also. So you can't get these with the clickers. The BFS Shimano's are the only thing that comes with clickers. Back then, the Aldebarans wise anyway. So I've added the clickers, which is anywhere from, used to be 40 or 50 bucks to get that to add. You can find them as cheap as 20 bucks now if AliExpress, something like that. I don't know if they make them for actually these, but. So both reels have clickers added, and this guy also has stock. Everything will come with it. And I think I have, 150 on this guy. I want to say I put 250 on this one. This one is still the more capable reel. That MGL spool will cast lighter stuff and cast easier overall than the 50. It was definitely an upgrade. Handles, by the way, are the exact same, except for the 50 had some gold anodization going on the insides of the cutouts. And that's the only difference in the handles. But this one also comes with, I don't think it comes with the reel. Yeah, it does. Yeah, but it didn't come with any of the extra, I don't think anyway, the brake stuff. But then we have Bantam oil. I've never taken it out of the package. I don't know. I think it's still brand new. So yeah, those are the reels. Very good, capable reels. Man, it's a shame I dropped that sucker. That definitely took a chunk off the money. I'd be asking 300 plus for this if I didn't do that to it. But still a very good looking, working, functional reel. So, yeah. 150, 250, trying to sell locally first. If I have to ship, if nobody here local wants any of these, I will, whatever the shipping cost will be, but probably going to be 10 or 15 bucks. It costs a small fortune to ship stuff nowadays. That's why I really don't like selling stuff. And I hope when I do, I try to list a bunch of stuff, because I'm hoping a lot of guys buy multiple things at once, because, and that's why AliExpress, like, they package up all their stuff together. Like, just shipping costs nowadays, especially for, it's gotten worse over the years. Shipping just sucks compared to what it used to be, and it's like twice the money or 3 times the money. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I guess it's an Amazon thing. If you get stuff on Amazon, you get it the next day for free shipping, but everywhere else it sucks. They charge you $50 for a rod, and they're going to break it half the time. They're going to snap your rod in half. They just are. So I don't want to ship these, but if I do ship them, don't worry. I mean, I don't want to. If I have to, if you buy multiple ones, or somebody out of state wants to buy all of them, I will ship them, but they will have a high insurance, because the probability of getting rods shipped to you in one piece is, it's very risky. So somebody already. a place to view where I'm selling them, you're looking at it right here. I'm going to list on my Facebook, probably Average Joe's Fishing Club, and that's it. So yeah, like I don't really go on any actual forums nowadays. Like Tackle Tour and Bass Boat Central, I used to be on regularly, but it's so hard. I love Tackle Tour, but trying to get on there and explain something to somebody and just clicking a button and having your picture go poof on Tackle Tour is ridiculous. You got to go through this whole hoopla of posting picture. I quit messing with places like that, you know. Facebook, if there's one good thing about Facebook, you just click some buttons, your picture's there, what you have to say. It's so simple compared to some of these forums and stuff, which I wish that they would just take those and put them on Facebook, basically. Because Tackle Tour, if you guys don't know, Tackle Tour is actually a good place for information and to get some good deals on used stuff. And so is Bass Boat Central. Bass Boat Central is more of a broad everything to do with fishing. Bass boats, bass gear, bass everything from the low end to the high end, everything. Tackle Tours, more guys with the high end type stuff. So anyway, let's jump to the rods. And these, I just got these, honestly, the whole stimulus package, you guys know what I'm talking about, the whole COVID thing, they did all the stimulus and all this and that, so we weren't getting free money, trust me, we're going to pay for it in the long run. But basically, I was like, you know what, and I would never buy these rods, I would never suggest these rods to anybody, because unless you're loaded, because you don't gain enough to justify spending $500 for a rod. You just don't. There's too many $140, $200 rods out there that are just as good, if not some would argue better than these rods. There just are. But these are good rods. The only justification you would have in these is if a lifetime rod. Which means, you know, if you guys noticed, I'm kind of wheeler and a dealer, and I buy and sell and go back and forth and try different stuff for the channel. You know, it wouldn't serve me any good to go out and buy 5 of these rods, and that's all I fish from here on out, trying to show viewers what's going on, you know, what with recommendations. Like, oh, I'll just buy an NRX for life, you know, because... But if you're that guy, and if you can, you know, you've got the money and you know exactly, the trick with that is, though, you got to know which ones you'd like to, you know, like maybe one's just a little bit, it's a power off or it's a whatever off. Well, the lifetime guarantee is for this exact replacement. The only plus side is nowadays these just went out. The NRXs are no longer made. It's an NRX Plus. And I will tell you this, from having experience with G-Loomis over the years, I've sent 1 or 2 back over the years. I had a 8-weight fly rod's one that comes to my memory the most. And I'd honestly wish they would have never went away from, I think it was GL2 lineup. The newer one that they gave me, I guess maybe it technically was a better rod, but I didn't like it. It wasn't near as good as the old rod. But what will happen is if any of the old NRXs that are being made, that have been made and that have the lifetime guarantees, when they snap and you send it back and there's no longer one of these in stock to send you, they give you the next whatever they're selling that replace that lineup on all of their lineups. Any of their rods that have lifetime guarantees or in their 3-year, whatever they are, like Loomis doesn't go and make a rod to replace a rod. They pull something off their shelf that they have made to give that replacement. So I don't know if they have more of these NRXs in stock or, you know, how you would do that. But say in the future, when as these wear out and break, the ones with lifetime guarantees, you get whatever the newest one is. So I would guess that the NRX Plus, because they have the same lineups, and if for some reason they changed one, you would basically get whatever the closest to that rating was. If say they dropped the exact, you know, rated rod in that lineup, when they did change, you would get what was close. And that's kind of what they did with me. I can't remember what it was, an 8-foot 8-weight. Basically a bass fly rod, GL2, and it snapped. So anyway, here's what we have here. This is the newest one. I bought this brand new, Rogers Sporting Goods, $530, $550, whatever the cost was. So I'm gonna try to sell it for $400. It's only seen the water like once. I think I took it out when I first bought it, and it's been moved around a little bit. And I'm looking at it right here. I mean, you know, it's not new, of course. I've had it, and it's been out of its sleeve, and I don't even know where the protective sleeve is. I don't think I have it anymore. I think it got lost, but there's one little scuff. If you really look, I just looked up and down the rod here. There's one little scratch, one little scuff if you really look. So, I mean, but I'm not selling it as new. I'm selling it for $400. It's not a brand new rod. It's as good as you're going to get, as close as you're going to come to a new rod, but that's the 802C jig worm rod. And for those of you that don't know Loomis rods, let it focus. You can read it. Come on. This is horrible. What is going on? There it is. 6'8", extra fast medium, 1/8 to 3/8 ounce. Yeah, I'd actually say it'll go just a touch even lighter than that, 10 to 14 pounds, but that's fairly close. And then I have an identical one, but is older. Same ratings, 802, and it is scratched to high heaven. And I'm actually tempted, if I don't sell this rod, if somebody don't want this rod for $300, I'm going to send it back. I'm going to contact Loomis and figure out if it was supposed to be that scratch or not. Now, this is my everyday fishing rod. This is one, if you want to go check it out, I just put it in a cast. I basically was test casting it with a swim bait, and if you want to look up that video, the cheapest swim bait from AliExpress, and I was definitely overworking it, and it handled it just fine. These are lightweight, crisp rods that still work fine, but I can't really justify $500 some. But they're definitely, once you start using them, now there's a learning curve. If you do watch the channel, I would swear that when I first start using these, say if I haven't used them in a while, I miss fish. And the only thing I can explain it is I don't give them enough time. These are sensitive enough that as soon as you feel it, if you got like a twitchy finger, you just jerk that rod, you're actually jerking out of their mouth before they truly had it, compared to what you're used to feeling a bite. Because they're just, sometimes I think when the bite's a little, I think they hit at it, and that basically they either turn it or they're turning it in their mouth before you can set the hook proper on a fish. And I think with some rods, until you're used to that sensitivity, you just feel that first little thing and you yank, and you literally yank it right out of their mouth before it had time to get the hook in the right position to get a good hook set, and that's how you lose them. But there's definitely a slight learning curve for any of these rods that are really real sensitive. If you're not used to using a sensitive rod, or say you're more on a I don't know, it's hard to explain. But anyway, there's the other one. They all have, if you're not familiar with these, they have good, what I like, these are the hook keepers I like. Down here, you can hook all your different baits right there on the bottom side. I like that part. The older rods, I have two older ones, two newer. The older rods, they definitely are they changed a little bit over the years. This says Loomis right here on the reel seat, and it also still has the crazy bone fish on it, and the newer ones had gone away from that. And then we have an 803. Now this one is it's the next power up. It's still 6'8", NRX 803. These are jig worm rods, all of them. 6'8", extra fast. They consider it a medium heavy, and I would kind of find it, that's pretty close. It's kind of closer more towards the medium than I would call it towards the heavy, but it's a pretty good stout rod. And I used it for, it says 3/16 to 5/8 and 12 to 16, is that 16 pound line? And that's what I used it for. 1/2 ounce chatterbaits, 1/2 ounce everything, really, with 15 pound line. And it is an awesome rod for that. And if I don't sell it, it'll go right back to those duties. And if you've noticed what these are on the ends, those are simply, you can get these on AliExpress real cheap, and they're not permanent. But it's a way to add weight to balance the rod. Because these are lightweight, but they're not truly like balanced. And I'm talking about balance where when you're holding, it's like a teeter-totter. And when you're holding where you palm, where I palm, that's how I add the weight. To where when I palm with the reel, I palm like this. And that rod, and as you can see, it's already right here without the weight of a reel. It puts the balance point like centered up with the reel. So it's just kind of teeter-tottering while you're sitting there, especially for like your bottom contact baits where you're wanting to do the jigging type stuff. I'm holding that rod like at a 45-degree angle, and I just want it to almost teeter-totter in my hand. So that slightest little, I can feel it. Now, what I'm learning is, don't set the hook then. It just lets you realize there's a fish there, get ready, then go. Because I think what happens when I'm fishing like that, if that first slightest little twinge of something, and you can tell it's a fish over, say, like you're in grass, or especially if you stopped reeling, you're letting that bait soak, that worm's just down there soaking, and you feel something, the slightest little thing. If you yank the instant and your reflexes are too quick, you'll jerk it right out of their mouth. But that's how sensitive these are, and I think they're more sensitive when you have them truly balanced like that. But that's what those are for, the balance. Awesome rods. If I don't sell them, they're going to go into use. This one I haven't even used yet. What I'll probably do is contact Loomis, try to send them this one back. If they won't take it back, I'll do something different. I'll probably start throwing. We'll try to just see how tough it is. But anyway, then I'll probably start using this one if they want me to send this one back, so they can look at it and decide if they want to give me another one or whatever they want to do with that one. And I'll just start fishing this one, kind of as a backup. But if you guys want them, I'll sell them to you, somebody locally. It's kind of I'm gonna let my cousin Matt, my boy Norman, my cousin Johnny, well, anybody locally. There's Jeremy, Grady, all the guys on Average Joe's Fishing Clubs, a bunch of guys that possibly could be interested in them. If not, and nobody wants to, I'm not going to list them on. I was thinking about I might list them on eBay, but I'm not going through all that hassle. If I can't sell them locally or to somebody that I know for sure, kind of deal, I don't think I'm going to go through the hassle. I'll just keep fishing them. At some point they'll snap. I'll send them in, and I'll get a brand new NRX Plus, right? I mean, maybe I'll like those better, or maybe I won't. Let's go to the Calcuttas. Let's go to the Kuying Conquerors. These came from AliExpress. This is the BF Bait Finesse one, the light. Out of the Conqueror lineup, this is the lightest rod they have, and it is very light, but it is not really a light rod, power wise anyway. If you guys follow the channel, 661 Kuying Teton is just a softer, more moderate rod. This rod here is way more powerful. So 6'5", 16th to a quarter, 4 to 12 pound line. And I think that's about what I use it for. More like a jig rod. 10 pound test, 16th and 1/8 ounce shaky heads. It's pretty good for that. It's almost too powerful for any other stuff. And then I was always afraid of snapping it if I try to throw too heavy of, like, say, chatterbaits or something like that. So it did not see a ton of use. I use it quite a bit, but it didn't see a ton of use from me. I mean, I've used it, but then again, I haven't used as much as my other rods. This rod is the one I've used the most. This is an awesome rod. I do use it, but I'm kind of getting away from that. I got a 13 fishing rod that I'm gonna try out this year coming up, and I'm also gonna, I've got another rod coming, or two coming from AliExpress. I'm gonna try to change over for that. Something that's got just a little softer tip, because this rod's good, but it's just I can't really show you on camera. The tip, I want one with just a touch softer tip before it gets going in the backbone. But this is a 6'7", very lightweight rod and powerful too. 6'7", quarter to 1 ounce, 12 to 20, medium heavy. I use this for chatterbaits. This was my main chatterbait rod for a while, along with the 803. I was kind of using both. I was using the 803 and this. This is the one I would recommend if you guys have followed the whole deal with the chatterbaits. The jackhammers are the greatest, and the Z-Man Originals suck. No. You guys suck. The Z-Man Original, the jackhammer, the customs, these new wave of whatever coming out, the Z-Man chatterbaits are legit. The Omega Custom Tackle, I like their Rapture jigs. I've went out and I tested myself. Now I did the little, I bro scienced it. I didn't really, go into crazy depth, but I fished both back to back, side by side. And the only difference I found is you typically want a little bit stouter rod to set a hook on the original. It's just got a bigger hook. It just makes sense. The only thing I guess you could call, what I call better about a jackhammer, it's got a hook that is easier to set. I feel like I've lost just as many fish in the times I was fishing them. I don't feel I got any more bites with the jackhammer over a Z-Man original. I just don't. And I can't physically tell a difference when I'm reeling them. You guys have it, I think, in your head that you can, I can feel the difference. I can't feel the difference. When I'm reeling them in, I use pretty light, sensitive rods, like the NRXs with braid, and I feel that the originals, the customs, the elites, the jackhammers, all have a very quick startup and have about that same vibrating feel. I do feel that you the jackhammers or the customs and the ones I recommend over the jackhammers, and that's what I talked about in several videos. I'm going to try to start fishing with because you can get away with a little lighter overall rod that will just makes it, I feel, easier on you overall. So I'm going to try to go with that, but I still plan on fishing the Z-Man Originals with, I've got a rod from AliExpress coming that I plan on doing the chatterbaits and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this is the rod, Z-Man Original, chatterbaits, pretty much anything that you don't need a heavy rod for. But like your, a lot of your half-ounce jigs and all that, this is a powerful enough rod that can cover all that kind of stuff. It's too powerful really for half-ounce crankbaits and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't set the hook, but setting the hook's not the problem. The problem is straightening the hook or pulling it right out of their mouth, because the medium heavies tend to be too heavy for that. But then you go to, now this one I did balance, and I did shorten. I guess I should talk. This is 6'7", but it's a little bit shorter in the butt. I shortened it up just a little bit. It doesn't look like, it's hard to tell. It's got some scratches here and there, but I did shorten that up. It's not truly a 6'7". It still fishes like one because it's just shorter here in the back. It just lets you be able to move the rod around you more than, and you still got enough length to stick it in your gut, when you're fighting in a fish or whatever. And then the 6'10" is the same thing. I balanced this one though. I didn't mess with adding any weight. You still could if you wanted to, but this one, I've done all kinds of crazy stuff to this to get it to just feel a little better, be totally balanced. It started out 6'10". I think it's like a 6'9" now. I definitely shortened this some, added some weight here internally in the back. But this is a very just stout rod. Like if some of you guys, I don't use something this stout I hardly don't use anything this stout, period. That's why this rod's set a lot of the times. But 3/8 to 3 ounce, 14 to 30 pound. Very, what I consider heavy rod. I mean, if I was a normal person, this is what I'd be throwing, some of those bigger swim baits and a lot of that stuff. But as you guys have all watched in my shows, I throw the 803, even the 802 sometimes, or that medium heavy Conqueror. I've thrown all that stuff that typically a lot of guys would throw with this. Frogs and all that I throw with this. This rod was my frog rod also, the 6'7". Plenty capable. I use the Booyah Popping Pad Crasher. That frog is the best frog in my idea for a frog. It's got better hookup ratios. You can walk it, you can pop it. You don't need a ton of frogs. Just when a frog bites on, you use that. Frog bites a little off, a little squirrely, switch up to either 802 or 803 with the Zinkers, just weightless with just a 2/0 or probably 3/0 hook. Throw it just where you would the frog. Comes through there just as good through the gunk, and a little easier to get them hooked up with that. Bonsai Guy says great for jerk baits. What's one you're talking about? Oh, hello, Jay. Jay's on here. Well, that's 14 minutes ago. It says he's 14 minutes in. So anyway, that is a good rod that I just bought the whole Kuying Conqueror line. I will tell you that story real quick, in case you guys want to know it. Like, well, why are you selling those? They're so good. They are very good. I had them a couple years now. Here's the downside to these. Not these particular rods. I bought the whole lineup from AliExpress. These are all one-piece rods. You can't hardly find a one-piece rod on AliExpress nowadays. But I found the Conqueror complete lineup, one-piece rods. I ordered the whole lineup, like I'm getting ready to do with these Lure Star rods. I'm buying the filling rod. If you guys have seen the videos, the purpley one with the wooden handles. I'm buying the full lineup of those. That's kind of why some of these are going bye-bye, or all of them, or they'll just go set kind of off to the side somewhere until I get around to needing them again. So I bought the whole Conqueror lineup, and my favorite one out of the bunch, there was a 6'8". I believe it was their medium light, 6'8". Kind of similar to this. Well, I tried throwing a half-ounce chatterbait on it. Snapped that baby right in two. Now, technically, I was overrated for what it was supposed to do, but let me finish the story. Half-ounce chatterbait, you're like, oh, well, yeah, you overpowered a medium light rod. I got a light Kuying Teton over there that I've thrown the huge whopper plopper on. I've thrown half-ounce spinner baits regularly, chatterbaits. Like the Kuying Conquerors compared to the Tetons, they're just, I guess they're that much more stiff. That's why I've talked about the minute you get into this cross wrap patterning on rods, they tend to fish a little stiffer than their ratings. And I think that's what happened with these is they're so, I guess, stiff and crisp that when you do overpower these and what their ratings say, you got to be careful on the bait you throw anyway. So anyway, I snapped a 6'8" medium light, and then I turned right around with the same exact chatterbait, not the same half-ounce weight, the same exact half-ounce bait. I took and put on the 6'6" medium one of these, and I snapped it casting it. Now, I don't know if in shipping they've screwed those two rods up or what happened, but since then, I've just been leery of these rods. Now, that was almost 2 years ago. It was like right after I first got them, and I fished these for, you know, I don't know, off and on over those couple years. No issues, but I don't throw over what their ratings say. You know, like this one says it's a 1/4 ounce, so I'll throw like a 1/4 ounce rattle traps. You know, right around that area, maybe 3/8, but I will not, you know, throw anything heavy. Here's the downside of that, though. What I've done with the NRX rods, of course, they have lifetime warranties, or most of my other rods, because most of my other rods are cheaper rods. I abuse them. I throw over what they're rated. I put thicker line than what they're say to put on them, and I've not had an issue. I did have with these Kuying Conquerors. That is the only downside to them. These exact three here, though, they seem to have survived, and they are excellent rods and work. And if you use, I can say that with any of these rods, the Kuying Tetons, the Conquerors, the NRX rods. If you guys have watched the real, not the real test, the Tactical Bass, and they talked about, you know, the old NRX rods, they always felt like they were going to snap them when they were casting or something, but they never did. And that's kind of like me. Like I fished these 802s. I've overpowered, you know, thrown heavier baits. I threw that one video with the swim bait, which is definitely a higher, what you probably should not be throwing with these, but these will handle it. And they're lifetime guarantees. So like, I'll just send it back if it snaps. Very awesome rods. And that's what the kind of rods I like to have. So if I could throw a half-ounce chatterbait on this little light, it would still be in my lineup. I'm not saying I couldn't, I just never have, and I'm too scared to, so I'm not going to. But if you run it with its rated, you know, stuff, I still would not recommend 12-pound line on a light rod. I only run 10-pound, even on the Kuying Teton 661 light. I think it's only rated for 8, but I will run 10-pound on it. But yeah, 16th to a 1/4 ounce, you stick to like 10-pound or less or 12-pound or less with those kind of baits. You should not have any issues with that, or the ones that are on these ratings. Very good rods. I just, you know, just letting you guys know my exact total dealings with them. And, you know, if somebody locally wanted to buy all three, $75 each. If you want to buy all three, I'd sell them for $50 each. Well, I gave $145. 150. Wait a minute. I gave 140 or 50 each for the littler ones. The one big 610 was 160 shipped. I think I got free shipping. I don't know. I ordered all of them at once, so I got kind of a deal. But this was still 160 for the bigger one. And the technology, I guess, is in them. You know, if you guys aren't familiar with the whole AliExpress stuff coming from China, the 4-axis carbon stuff is what the feeling rod is, and everything I've found that comes close. Hang on a second. I know this is a for sale deal, but let me show you this rod. Everything here's basically the rod, the lineup that's going to replace all this. Whether I sell them or not, I'll start fishing more. Now these could snap on me. I just got these this one a couple months ago. If you guys know this one, let me try to get it. It's upside down. See where it says feeling? 6'8" 2-piece light. These are 1-piece rods. This is a 2-piece rod. I can tell you right now, when you stick this rod together and it's in its 1-piece form, you can't tell the difference. I was a stickler just not too many years ago. I wanted 1-piece rods. I would not go to 2-piece rods, but I can tell you now, after having the Kuying Tetons, this rod, the CU Double, Cast King Zephyr, several others, I don't have an issue with dealing, and actually now I prefer the just the ease of messing with rods, 2-piece rods. So this lineup, this rod right here, I got a deal going. I'm trying to buy the whole lineup. There's a 6'8" light, the 6'8" medium light, 6'8" medium, and then they jump for whatever reason to a 7'3" medium heavy. So I got a deal going with the guy. I'm buying the whole lineup again. I'm buying this exact one because I like this exact, the bend in the light. I like it. It's for shaky heads. This is an awesome rod. I like shorter rods, by the way. I'm also getting the medium light, the medium, and the medium heavy, and I'll just have to see exactly how they feel, where they go. I'm hoping one will work for a jerkbait rod, another one I'm hoping the 7'3" medium heavy is just soft enough tip I can get away. I'm definitely going to short just kind of like I did on this one, I will short that butt of it up. I'm going to get it from 7'3". I'm going to shorten it quite a bit, but I'm hoping that'll make me a new chatterbait rod. The medium and the medium light, I'm not sure where they're going to fit in. Hoping the 6'8" medium will make a good jerkbait rod. But the cross carbon stuff, I'll try to get a good shot of it. The closest thing I've found here that you can get in the States that I'm seeing is like what the Phoenix K2 blanks, the Dobbins, their highest end one, whichever one that was. I was just up there at Rogers Sporting Goods looking at it. And I don't know if they go all the way. I know you can see it on the Dobbins part way up. And then I think they got another coating of something over it maybe just to make it smooth. But I don't know what technology, if these blanks all come from the same place or if some company in China copied what those Phoenix blanks are, and that's where all the ones in the States are coming from. But I know even on AliExpress, this blank material right here, you can't get it shipped to you in sections for much under 80 to 100 bucks. You can buy this whole rod for 120 plus shipping, depends on what you can find it shipped for. Sometimes 20, 30 bucks. If you wait for a sale, I found them as cheap as it was 135. Well, I got a deal going with the LT Fishing Store. I'm going to buy the whole lineup, plus I'm going to buy the Lure Star streamer rods. I'm buying all of them, and it's going to free shipping. Just the cost of the 120 per these rods, and the other rods are like 85 bucks. So I can guarantee you right now, for $120, these rods, and I'll try to show you the guys. They say they're alkanite. So this guide right here, there's only 2 guides that are this with the reel foots like this. So I'll try to kind of give you a size comparison. So kind of big, not too big, but like the Teton rods, and it's about the same size as the NRX rods, something close to that. Then it jumps pretty far down to probably smaller than what the NRX rods are. Then from here on out are just these little bitty, and I think they're all the exact same size from here to the tip, and the tip's about that same size. That's a pretty small little eye. So, in a very lightweight, crisp, awesome filling rod. I'm hoping once I get the deal worked with him, I get them all here, no problems. That's going to be what my main lineup. Then you'll see me using all these other little ones for creeks and streams, and I wish they made this one in a touch even lighter version than what I'm looking at right here, filling. And they also name them different. This one says filling. The medium light says something else. I want to say the 6 foot or the 7'3" heavy says power or something, but the name is different. I cannot find any other name for these. People have asked me. Lure Stars, who makes it, or that's who had whoever makes them for Lure Star. But I can't find the actual name of the rod. You know, it's not an NRX, but I don't know if that symbol means anything. Awesome rods. Those rods right there. Now, if these were $500 or $600, you wouldn't have never seen me bought one from AliExpress because there's no guarantee. That's the downside to these. There's not even, on the Conquerors, you're buying something new, but it's no guarantee, just like you buy a JDM rod. That's one good thing about the NRX rods. So as I get out of here, guys, if you have any questions about buying these or whatever, oh boy, tons of comments. Bonsai guy, hello, hey, yeah, I'm gonna start fishing this spring, and we definitely need to hit a couple spots. Jay said he's interested in a Conqueror if it doesn't go locally. Bonsai guy. Ultralight? Oh, I have an ultralight if you're interested in one. Yeah, get with me, Bonsai guy, and yeah, we can work out some kind of deal. Bonsai guy, if you guys don't know, he's been on the channel, been fishing. He was supposed to be helping me out with the bonsai, and I got him into fishing. Now I don't even know, he's going to have to change his name to Bass Guy, I think. Yeah, Jay just asked me if you think if the filling rod, well, the problem with that, Jay, is if I get more of these, then I'm going to have to ship them to you. It's going to be another, shoot, I don't even know what it costs here in the States to, you know, it is a two-piece rod, but it's still a longer package, but what that would cost. Jay just asked me if they're more crisp or as crisp as the Conquerors. Well, I think they're sensitive and as crisp, but they're more flexy. I call them, I don't know how to explain these Lure Star rods. They've got they're not a extra fast for sure. They're probably not even a fast. They're more of a, I call them moderate fast. They're definitely not as moderate as like a Kuying Teton in the light version. This one has way more power than like your, well, you know, you've got the Vivids. It's definitely a stouter feel than the Vivid Light, but it almost has as much flex. It just feels like it takes a little more power to get it to make that flex. It's hard to explain. And they feel very strong and very sensitive. They're definitely, the Conquerors, these NRX rods, this rod right here, are more sensitive than any of my Teton rods. Oh shoot, my Tatula solid tip rod and a couple of these solid tip rods are pretty freaking sensitive. But I would call like the NRX rods, these Conquerors, this rod is definitely probably my most sensitive, along with the Tatula rod with the solid tip. The CU Double is pretty sensitive rod also. I haven't fished much with the solid tip, the ultralight, but with the light tip. And the John Q rod is fairly sensitive, but I think these rods are more sensitive in my opinion. They're definitely got a lighter, crispier feel than all those other rods. The NRX, the Conqueror, I honestly, in honest opinion, I think the Conqueror rods have a lighter, crisper feel than the old NRX rods. I don't think they're, and I know they're nowhere near the strength and overall, you know, just durability. Even though this one NRX is scratched up, I would bet money that when you try to put power and braking strength, that the Conquerors are going to come up far behind the NRX rods. But as far as light, crisp, and sensitive, I think the Kuying Conquerors are right there with any of them. Definitely, probably with, even, or better than the Shimano Zodius rods, which I feel they're close to a blank, made off similar to that. But then this rod, I feel this is one of the most sensitive, lightest rods I've ever used. If the one I can compare it to is sort of like I had the Destroyer lineup, a couple rods. I had the Criff Hanger and the Shading X in that X7 Destroyer lineup. And I would call this rod a lighter but more sensitive, crisper rod than those by a touch. I just feel it's a better quality blank, lighter feel, and it's got that same kind of feel though. It's like it is a more, I don't know. It comes close to those rods. Of all the rods I've fished over the years, this is out of this one probably comes closest to that Destroyer X7 lineup. I think that's why I like it so much. But I feel it's better than that lineup, and that's one of my favorite rods. And Emily has that rod still, the Shading X. I sold the Criff hanger and it got broken shipping to a guy, and luckily I insured that. So I'm out of here, guys. If I might come back live again, Charles shows up, and where it's snowing out here, Charles, I know he's like me. He's, you know, we're morons, and we admit it. His rod builder's like, "Oh, your rod's ready. Coming to get it. It's a blizzard outside. Don't care. On my way. Got a 4-wheel drive." So he's supposed to swing by here, though, because he's going to pick up that rod. I know he ain't coming all this way to pick up a $20 cheap AliExpress rod, but he's going to be heading over to Kansas somewhere, I think, is where the rod builder's at. So hopefully we'll be able to check out his rod. He's felt this rod. I don't know if Charles is planning on buying any of these. Charles is kind of one of those guys that he likes the good, you know, affordable, cheap deals over any kind of expense. Now, he's spending money. He's getting his own custom rods, but I think he's kind of got it in his head. Once he spends over $30 or $40 for a rod, it's just going to be all out like a custom. He ain't going to mess with none of these name brand type things, you know what I mean? Which, me, I don't know. I just like trying different stuff. And when I came across this one, it was a perfect match for these little Black Knight 2s, which I still like, but I've discovered I like the Dark Wolf Ultra just a touch better as far as palmability. Now, this is still comfortable. This is still fine right here. So, 46 minutes into what was supposed to, I was originally planning this for like a 10 or 15 minute deal. So, we might as well keep on going. This is those of you guys that don't know, this is the reel I just picked up as to why I'm getting rid of the other Aldebarans if they'll sell. That Calcutta Conquest. And this rod was under 20 bucks. Can't buy it right now. Right now, I got it sitting in my cart, but it says there's a sale going on. At $15 will get you the 5'6" one, but it doesn't ship to our country right now. So there's no shipping. I can't buy this rod right now again. I've only bought it once. I plan on buying it again. And if anybody's interested, this reel also in this sale, not this at all. But I am selling it, the Edo AI. I do plan on selling that at some point. Basically, locally, if you want to buy it, $110. That's what I gave for it. Basically, I added a drag clicker. I can put a regular handle if you insist on a regular handle, but I did polish it, cleaned it up, put a different side plate on it. That's the Finesse Custom spool. I'll throw in the other spool, the stock one. I got a gold one out of a Type R, and yeah, but I will be selling that reel at some point, or not. Doesn't really matter. It's kind of one of my old school combos. So I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. I didn't even plan on fishing this, but I just stuck this on here real quick. I am finding out that I like the bigger filling reels. If you saw me, I was just holding up that Calcutta Conquest on a smaller rod. For whatever reason, when you get a reel like this, and it palms good on your regular stuff, which is fine for that, I find it when I get to these little rods, the 522 SUL, the little Zephyr, all of those little creek and stream type rods with that short handle, the Toma is another one. I like a more solid filling reel, so just a touch bigger, like this Zillion, which palms way better than any Zillion or Tatula made to date. Just awesome reel. If you don't know about that, you need to get one. But I'm finding I like that bigger fill. It like just makes you the little rod feel firmer and better overall, for me anyway. I don't know if you guys have had that experience. You know, sometimes you'll take a reel, and if it's a bigger, heavier reel, even if it palms good and you put it on too big of a rod, it just feels like this bulk of a tank stuff you're holding. But when you take a little bit bigger reel, and this is a pretty short rod, little grip, but I kind of like the way this feels on there. Now this is not found a home on anything yet, because I've got a high dollar rod coming that I plan on putting this BFS on. But this little $15, $20 rod actually feels real good with this. this is going to be a good rod and reel. May not be together, but for these little creeks and streams. All right, guys, got to go. Let's keep it under 50 minutes. Oh, regret selling the Edo? No, not really, because I've had so many of those, Jay. I still, like, I don't know. It was a little, you know, take a stroll down memory lane from back when I did all the Alphas things. But I honestly think we're getting ready to see a little new wave of stuff. And that's partially why I'm clearing out some of this other stuff. If you want, as I get out of here, I'll tell you my predictions and why I'm selling. Well, you've seen the NRX just came out, the NRX Plus. The possibility this reel may even be replaced here real shortly with the gold version, if anything else. But maybe not. This may hold out a couple more years. But the Aldebaran, there's already a new 22 Aldebaran BFS. Not really a true pick of it. They're doing something with the Tatula. I think that the AliExpress reels, if they refine, do a few more things with this, the Dark Wolf Ultra, the Lingle or whatever, I think we're about ready to see another wave of something, you know, a few other things. That's why I'm like, I'm not a collector. So I'm not really collecting this. I will fish and use this, but this is, as of right now, this is my collection reel. I know it can't, you know, it's not gonna beat the other reels, but for what it is, it's my like little Cadillac of the bunch for the moment. So all the other Cadillacs, all the other cool, just because they're cool things, are shipping off down the road, and I will be keeping kind of these in my lineup and then a few of the other things. But yeah, anyway, gotta go, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in any of this stuff and you're local, let me know. And if you're not local, but I don't know. I'm gonna try something local first. Anyway, guys.